Hello dear friends, welcome to this video. In this video, I'll be talking about the variables in JavaScript. A variable is something that will going to hold a value for you. As we have done in mathematics or any other programming language, the variable is something, the value could be changed over the time. And there are different ways in which we can declare variables in the programming language. But I feel the JavaScript is the most simplest among them. Because we here, the way to declare a variable is very simple. We just use the word var to declare a variable. For an example, I declare var, so you can see it as a keyword. I write the space and then write x. So here x is declared as a variable. And if I want to give the value to it, I'll write equal to 1. It's all done. So for an example, if I want to give another one, variable, suppose if I want to give ABC is the name of a variable, I just write equal to, and inside the double quote, I want to assign it the value, my name as a string. It's done. So what we are learning over here is, what is a way to declare a variable? We just have to write var space name of the variable. If you want to assign a value, write equal to, give it a value. The important key over here, the benefit of the JavaScript is, we are not supposed to tell which data type we are using. The JavaScript will automatically identify the corresponding data type of that variable. Right? For an example, over here I am giving x as a number and ABC as a string. The JavaScript will automatically identify the corresponding data type. Many programming language require you to declare which kind of a data you want to store inside the variable. But in JavaScript, you have a benefit. Just declare a variable, it will identify the data type itself. Apart from it, further in the code, you can even change the data type. For an example, at present, the data type of x is an integer. I want to convert it from a number to a string. For an example, now I want to write my surname in a string inside x. This is also allowed. For an example, if I want to print it now, what is a way to print anything in the script? We write document dot write x. Okay, I save the code by Control S. You can see with blue mark over here, that means the code is saved. I just go to this, I just refresh, you can see it is printed, right? And suppose if I change this, if I remove this part, now the value of x is 1 only. I have saved the code, I just go here, I just refresh it, and you can see the change. So what are the things that we are noting over here? We are noting that what is a way to declare? There is no need to tell the data type. It will automatically identify. Apart from it, in the future, you can change the data type if you want. But while declaring the name of this, what are the things that we should make sure? Right? If you want to declare a variable while giving a name, we should make sure there are certain rules need to be followed. Right? What are the basic rules? These are nothing but the basic concept. One of the concept that we should mark is, suppose if I want to declare multiple variable at a time, I can do so. For an example, I want to declare A, B and C as my different variables. I can declare it in the same line by using a comma. If I want to assign the value, I can even assign them value, right? So I'll just write as J, and over here I suppose I want to give it a boolean value, that is nothing but true. I can even give it, right? Okay. So one thing that we are noting, in a single line you can declare multiple variable, even you can assign them a different values as well, right? Everything is allowed. Okay, but my concern was to talk about the name to it. What is a way to assign a value? By equal sign. But we are worried about naming a variable. What is a way? Before you start naming a variable, you need to be aware of some basic rules. What are the basic rules that you need to take care of? The first that you need to consider is case sensitivity. Your variables are case sensitive. For an example, suppose if I declare my x, capital X, as 1 or 2 again, suppose. Now if I observe here, this X and this X would be different, considered different in JavaScript. Right? If I want to observe, suppose if I save it, Control S, now I go here, I just do the refresh, and you can observe the value of X is 1 only. The reason is, over here, this is not value of X, this is a value of capital X. Right? So small x and capital X are different. So the naming of the variable, you should be careful about case sensitivity. Apart from it, suppose if I declare another one, capital ABC, this is also different from what you have defined over here. Right? Whatever you defined over here, and these two are different variables. You need to consider them as a different variable. The next rule is invalid characters. While giving the name to it, there are specific rules that you need to follow. From what you can start, from what you can end, what you can use in between. These are nothing but specific rules. We will discuss it in a while. And the last thing that you need to make sure is you cannot use a reserved keyword as a name. For an example, I cannot have variable name as try. You can see I cannot declare try as my variable because it is predefined keyword. It is a reserved keyword. It has some special meaning. I cannot give this keyword as a variable name. So these are nothing but 3 basic rules that you need to understand. Case sensitivity, invalid character, we will talk about it in a detail in a short while, and the last is nothing but reserved keyword you should not use. Okay, let's just talk about this invalid characters in detail. So whenever you want to give a variable some name, you can start with a letter, you can even start with an underscore, this is also allowed, or you can start with a dollar sign. For an example, I start with this. These 3 things are allowed to start with. You can start with a letter, you can start with a dollar sign, or you can start with an underscore. So what you cannot start with? You cannot start with any other character except underscore or dollar sign. For an example, I cannot start with @ABC. This is not allowed to be a name of a variable. Right? Apart from it, you cannot start a variable name from a number. You can see the difference. As soon as I start with 2, its color changes to red. That is not allowed. Because it consider it as a value, not the variable name then. I cannot start with this @ but I can start with the dollar sign. Now, you can start with letter, underscore or dollar sign. After that, you can use any letter for the second place onwards. You can use any letter, you can use underscore, you can use dollar sign. Apart from it, one more thing is allowed now. You can even use numbers inside it. Right? So inside that, you can even use numbers. So the variable name cannot begin with any number, any other character except the dollar and the underscore. The other characteristics in the variable name can be letter, numbers, underscore and the dollar sign. So while you are giving a name to a variable, you need to understand this rule and accordingly give the name. Otherwise, what will happen? It will not consider as a variable name and that part of the code will be ignored by your browser. Right? Also, apart from it, I cannot give blank spaces. For an example, I cannot give this as my variable name. The blank spaces are also not allowed for the variable name. And as I said, some reserved keywords are also not allowed. If I consider this few examples, this 4 could be considered, this 5 could be considered as a name of a variable because it satisfies the rule. It starts with either underscore or dollar sign. After it, there is no space. Whatever is used is something which is allowed. We can use number, underscore and letter, dollar sign inside. Only those things are used. So that is allowed. These are nothing but a valid name. If I start with hashtag, I start with a number, I use space, I use space, I use space. This all things are not allowed. So these are nothing but invalid names. avoid using the reserved keywords, because the reserved keywords has a special meaning to it. So these are nothing but all special reserved keyword, and you're not supposed to use any one of them as name of your variable. Right? So this was some basic idea about the naming of variable. I was a bit fast, but you can watch it again for the second time. If you have any doubt, difficulty, just let me know in the comment section. In the next video, I'll be talking about few more concept of JavaScript. If you want to ask something, please let me know in the comment section. Okay? Thank you.